Hi everyone, this is The Witch of the Void, and today I'm playing the final chapter of the Prologues, introducing the characters of the Vampire Masquerade chapters, the board game. And today I'll be reading the prologue chapter for Gabe Tremblay, which is the Caitiff character. And right off the bat, the very important thing is I won't be using any boards for this particular part, for this prologue, because there isn't one. It's basically just dialogue. And Gabe is create your own character kind of character. So you can play either a male version of Gabe or female version of Gabe. However, there is only one figurine available. So you either have to use the Gabe default figurine or select another one. And also an important note from the creators of the game board, that in the rulebook, in the storybook, the character is referred to as he. However, because you can actually create your own character, the escape, it's your own choice whether you adhere to it or you just change the pronoun to the female version if you are playing as the female version of Gabe. And just as a side note, let's read what's available in the rulebook. And it states, create your own character. Choose the Caitiff. While every playable character has a past, a history, a personality, and a preset character sheet, Gabe Tremblay is a Caitiff. He or she is like a blank page, yours to appropriate. In the world of darkness, Caitiff are often perceived as low-class kindred. This condition confers a certain amount of freedom, however. The Caitiff allows player the opportunity to create a character sheet from scratch, and you can distribute the points as you see fit, adhering to the rules that you want, adhering to the rules that are written here. So you have to spend point on attributes. You have 60 points in total to spend on skills. You are playing Gabe Tremblay in this game. You decide to put 3 points to mental attribute and 2 points in social and physical. One attribute has to be on 3, 2 at 2. And you will then spend your speed point. And you get to select those 60 points on skills attributes as you want, and you have to have 2 level 1 disciplines of any combination. So that's actually something very special to Gabe, that you get to, as a Caitiff, you get to pick the disciples, the disciplines you want. However, the cost for raising those disciplines actually the same. So you get all of the available discipline skills for Gabe, but you get to choose only 3 disciplines and you have to stick with them. For the purpose of this prologue, I will not be choosing that. I will just read through the prologue, and then just an FYI, if you want that, you are able to do it. So, because I'm not sure, I haven't played this chapter yet, I'll prepare the effect cards just in case. I will have to use them at some point, but if not, let me just start and go directly to Gabe history. Introduction. Prologue Caitiff. Again, the chapter is played solo. A woman stands above you. Next to her, a man. Oh God, I think he's dead. Oh God. You stare at yourself in the mirror, fading in and out of consciousness. You look down at your hands, which firmly grip a sink. You know that if you let go, they'll shake. Max, what should we do? The woman asks. You can hear them only dimly, as if you were dreaming. Their silhouettes are vague. It looks like it's like you're looking through a fog. Nevertheless, you can see that Max is stout and muscular and unmoving. He seems to be in shock. There is something in his chest, and his eyes aren't fully closed. Maybe he's still alive. We should take it out. Try and help him. Your head feels like cotton, almost as if you've been bitten, you've been hit by a truck. Static resonates inside your skull. Your eyes are glassy and bloodshot. The bugs you've always had suddenly seem darker, and your skin seems paler. Part of you doesn't want to remember, and yet... "Oh shit, he's alive!" the woman exclaims. She seems particularly panicked, and partly reassured. "Here, it's okay, grab my hand. Max, call 911. Those are her last words as you plunge your fangs into her wrist. Blood gushes out as you tear through tender flesh, and you avidly begin gulping down the vermilion liquid. A loud shriek resonates, one that should chill you to the bone. Instead, it just makes you more frantic. There's a beast inside you now, that beast, and it needs to feed. The woman manages to pull what's left of her arm free and falls backwards. Husband helps her up, and they both flee towards the house screaming. You track them like a prey, hunting them. When you catch them in the kitchen, you tackle the woman, bite her neck, and begin to feed. She freezes, paralyzed, and moans in ecstasy as you bleed her dry. As you feed, her husband stabs you in the back. You ignore him, even as he stabs you a second time. Once you've done feeding, you throw the woman's body against the wall, turn towards the man, and lunge yourself at him. You aren't as kind to him as you were to his wife, and plunge with your teeth into his neck. He violently pushes you off him, and blood spills from his wound. He stumbles a bit, pressing his right hand against his neck. He's already gargling blood, but he still has it in him to cry out his wife's name, as his eyes rest on her corpse. It was Valerie. You jump on him once more and tear through his flesh. He screams and tries to wriggle free for a while, beginning for his life. Eventually, though, his movement slows down and stops. The beast is satiated. The last few hours are a blur. You remember hearing sirens and people walking around you. They covered you with a blanket and spoke words you cannot remember. There was a young lady too, and then... You are lying in the bathroom. You threw up in the thing. This can't be real. Can't be real. You threw up again. Mostly blood. As you wipe your mouth, you spot a couple of bits of flesh among the blood that stains the porcelain. Despite your persisting gag reflex, nothing comes out. Your choking soon gives way to sobs, and all you do is weep. Unbeknownst to you, there's someone at the door, and they are watching you. Objective: remember your past. And again, no tile involved in this chapter. Brief event number 1. Watching you. You turn to look at the two intruders staring at you from the doorway. One of them is a blonde woman wearing extravagant and expensive looking clothes. She has an almost anachronistic look at her. The other figure is standing behind her. He's tall, and you have trouble spotting him in the shadows. However, you detect that it's most likely a man, and that he has no hair. Okay. The woman smiles. Despite her innocuous appearance, she gives off an almost predatory vibe. Hello, Gabe. Caleb and Betty, not quite right. How do you know my name, you ask? The woman grins widened. Let's just say I have my sources, my dear. You what? You ask, frowning. This woman is strange. You can't help but feel uneasy. There's something odd, fake, and eerie about her. Something's up. She's wearing a mask of sorts. Almost. Or playing some kind of a role. You shake your head. Never mind that, she says. Where are all my manners? You've just awoken, and here I am prattling on about myself. What the fuck are you talking about? You cut her off dryly. She's starting to get on your nerves. The features soften then, and she clasps her hand together. Gabe, my dear, tell me, what's the last thing you remember? Memories. The what? The last thing you remember, dear. You gulp. Your eyes indistinctively glance at the sink and the gruesome remains within. You resist the urge to throw up again. How does this woman know your memory has gone haywire? Are she and the man both cut? Speaking of the man, he still hasn't said a word. So far, he's remained mostly unseen in the back. You shudder. You instinctively feel as if there's something repulsive about him. He's definitely hiding on purpose. But why? You decide to lie to the woman as best as you can. Nothing, I just, you stutter. Other than the lovely couple you murdered, of course. Your eyes widen in shock. Bits and pieces. How did you... I know a lot of things. The woman purrs, seemingly proud of herself. Who are you? You inquire. The blonde cocks her head to the side, beaming. Why, I'm Betty. Betty Damil. And that over here, there is Caleb. He upholds our laws in the city. We're here to help you. I don't understand. How did you even know I was here? And why would you want to help me? The woman shakes her head dismissively at your remark. Never mind that. I'll explain later, don't you worry. In due time. All you need to know is that you have nothing to fear. Betty, that silhouette in the back, finally speaks in a low, brave voice that's also surprisingly soothing and deep. We don't have much time. Time for what, you wonder? Betty turns briefly to look at the tall, shadowy figure. Stop, Ray. Was just trying to make him loosen up a bit. You feel yourself relax a little. Part of you knows you shouldn't completely let your guard down, but the rest of you nevertheless feels as if these two are like you in a way. Whatever that means. At the very least, they don't seem to mean you any harm. But anyway, she continues, tell me, darling, other than the couple, is there anything else you remember? Any bits and pieces can be useful, the shadowy figure in the back adds. You take a deep breath and close your eyes as you try to force yourself to remember. Realization. Flashes. New ones. Not of the couple this time, but of an arena and people chanting. An arena? More images follow. Someone with a bag, a young woman, she's crying. Okay? You gasp and open your eyes. You touch your chest where your heart should be, yet feel no beating sensation. You look up at the woman before you and the man in the back with fear and realization. More flashes. This time, images of shovels raining dirt down on you. Horrid pain bursting through your body and then... nothing. The blonde woman smiles. That's right, honey. You're dead. Control. Dead. The words resonate oddly in your ears. You look at the woman and at the tall man obscured by the shadows in the back. And then you feel it, that rage from your memories, the desire to kill and rip things to shreds. The beast has awoken, and once more blood. So, now I get to do a rounds check. I failed miserably. If you fail, fuck them. They can't be trusted. Unleashed. The beast inside you becomes impossible to control. You jump on Betty, fangs bared, ready to attack when Caleb comes into the light. His pale skin with visible black veins is visible, and he's insanely tall, even taller than you first thought. His hideous complexion becomes all the more troubling when paired with a set of pointed fangs. Before you can attack Betty, he jumps on you and restrains you. You shake almost uncontrollably as you try to break free and attack him. At this point, your humanity feels long gone. Caleb is now holding you firmly in place. Betty, get the blood vial from my pocket. The man orders. The blonde woman complies, and after taking out the vial, opens it. Caleb grabs the back of your hair and pulls your head back with one hand, keeping your jaw open with the other. Betty pours the content of the bottle into your mouth. As you gulp the vermilion liquid avidly, you feel the beast's influence lessen. Okay, I have to decrease my hunger by 1, but I have no idea where I started. Eventually, you stop struggling. You feel a bit dizzy. Betty leans over you, her expression somewhere between mildly concerned and curious. Caleb is also looking at you expectantly, most likely to see whether you'll attack again. Although you're not in the best shape, you manage to regain the strength necessary to speak. Your eyes remain fixed at you. You're vampires, you mouth. Betty nods. We're kindred, Gabe, and so are you. That's what we call ourselves, kindred. I think they were others like you. They made me fight. Caleb's expression darkens. Betty bites her lower lips, seemingly concerned. Have you remembered something else, Gabe? Caleb's voice is a huge contrast to his appearance. Weirdly enough, you're almost used to it by now. Instead, you're distracted by intrusive thoughts, memories of screams and shouts, memories of bloodshed and arena. Vampire the Masquerade chapters contains a complex storyline. As the player, you will often be prompted to make moral choices that will impact gameplay for the rest of the campaign. So tread carefully and think hard before making a decision. If you don't, you may lose some of your humanity. Humanity is your last protection against the beast. The part of you that constantly craves power, blood, and control. Characters lose humanity by committing terrible deeds such as murder, diablerie, and other immoral acts. Altruistic actions can help minimize humanity loss. With the exception of certain characters, every character begins the story with 7 humanity. Suddenly, it is as if you were there again, the arena, the place where you lost your humanity for good. Let the games begin. Set your hunger tracker to 3, and remember, every time you make a rouse check, you risk awakening the beast and entering frenzy. You were thrown somewhere with a bag over your head. You fell to the floor. Never before had you felt such terror. Whoever had kidnapped you and brought you here, you knew it could be nothing good. Whispers as demonic laughter resonated all around you, like a chorus of voices or a satanic chant. Then suddenly you could see. The bag obscuring your face had been removed. You turned around, but it was already too late. All you saw were huge gates swinging shut. You looked around at the large walls encircling you and keeping you trapped. Higher up, in the stands, you managed to spot what seemed to be people, except they all looked disturbing. There was something off about them, and they all seemed to be mocking you. Although you couldn't make out what they were saying, you could hear the glee in their voices. They were waiting for something. Right then, you spotted another gate, much like the one that had closed behind you. With a loud cracking sound, the doors swung open, and all you could do was watch petrified. The other side. To your consternation, two of the disturbing men pushed in someone else wearing a bag over their head. It was a woman. He stumbled over, sobbing through the bag. Delivery, one of the men spat out. Enjoy, the other exclaimed. The two then burst out laughing, and before you could react, retreated beyond the huge gate. The doors closed loudly behind them. The girl in front of you was shaking. You remembered that clearly as the day. It's okay, I'm not gonna hurt you. You froze then. Something stirred within you. A disturbing, powerful force, like a hungry beast awakening for the first time. The beast. Back then, you didn't know what that was either. All you knew was that you were hungry. And the sobbing person before you seemed like the perfect meal. Oh god, what the fuck have those people done to me? Broken mirror. There was an uncontrollable impulse within you. Suddenly, the person before you no longer seemed like a human being. Blood, you muttered, barely audible. Blood, blood. The more you repeated it, the more tantalizing the person before you became. You were seeing red, literally. You felt like you could hear her heart pumping blood through her veins, delicious, mouth-watering, addictive. You just want to taste. Gabriel? You froze in your tracks then, and the beast inside you suddenly recalled. Whatever was left of your humanity was still there, and suddenly back to being wounded, frightened. Gabe, is that you? Your arms grew limp, and suddenly, the shouts from the sadistic audience seemed farther away than ever. The person with the bag over her head was your sister. Torn. You remember feeling torn inside, like there was a separate person inhabiting your body. This newfound hunger was driving you wild. Should you really take off that bag? After all, you weren't even sure that was her. Your paranoid brain was starting to come up with all sorts of possible explanations. What if this was a trick from these monstrous people in the stands? And then a realization, chilling. Beast. That weird, new, evil inner voice of yours. What if it was pushing you toward paranoia to justify feeding on your own sister? Gabe! Gabe! Sounded exactly like her. But was this a trap? If you got rid of the bag that hid her face, you could make sure it was her. And it might help you control these disgusting newfound impulses. But what if that was a trap? Regardless, time eventually came to make a decision, which is why you took off the bag of her head. Family reunion. You immediately ran over to her, trying to ignore the small voice inside your head. This new evil voice, telling you not to get rid of the bag. That it'll be easier to feed on her without seeing her face. You tore off the bag, and in one swift motion, only to see relief paint itself upon her face. Oh my god, Gabe, you're okay. Your expression didn't mirror her own, however. No, instead, you stared at her face, transfixed. It was bleeding. Gabe, her voice, it sounded so worried, so fragile, and yet you felt your empathy lessen with every passing second. What's wrong? Did they do something to you? You close your eyes and grit your teeth, disgusted by the newfound senses. And this evil presence telling you to feed on her, to drink her blood, to drink her dry, to... Gabe, listen to me! We have to think of a way to escape before they send someone down here to kill us. You open your eyes, And not a second later, you seize her throat with your right hand, cutting her sentence short. A new, almost carnal gaze replaced your previous expression. Roll die. Oh, success, failure, or a skull symbol. Oh, I succeeded. I wanted to read the skull symbol. The tremblade wins. Okay, you've been weird. Strangely enough, the casualness of the way she said it snapped you out of its trance. Your face is weird. You Your face is weird. You instinctively retorted. Twins. My face is your face, dipshit. You chuckled, suddenly feeling much more normal. You scared me there for a second, she added, this time sounding more serious. The brief moment of happiness came to an end then. You had to make sure you could control this newfound evil inside you. Your sister's life depended on it. You tried to bury the beast with even more by... telling her the truth. Listen, you began. I don't know what the fuck they did to me, but you force yourself not to look at the damn droplets and try to ignore the incessant sound as they crash to the floor. Something's wrong. I wanna hurt you. Yeah, her eyes widened in alarm. Like, hit me or... No, Loon, I want to fucking eat you. Her eyes darted between the crowd, the area, and then back to you. There's something wrong with me. It's like there's this fucking evil voice inside me that wants me not to see you as my sister, and it's telling me to drink your blood. Since falls between the two, silence falls between the two of you. The horrific nature of your statement was slowly beginning to sink in. It was almost like uttering the words out loud suddenly made the danger more imminent, and somehow much more real. Hey, one of the audience members screamed. We're tired of fucking waiting. Yeah, kill her already. Drink her blood. Empty her fucking guts, another one shouted. Then they all started chanting. Feed, feed, feed. Ultimatum. Your sister looked at the ground and back at you, her face paler than before. What are we gonna do? She breathed. You gulped. You could feel yourself slowly losing your mind at the sight of her wounds. Feed, 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 the crowd insisted, almost hysterical. You groaned. It was driving you insane. You mean it? Huh? Your sister's voice snapped you out of your internal struggles. You really need my blood to feel better? She inquired. You nodded slowly, trying hard not to keep staring at the hunger. It was driving you insane. You had to find a way to make the whole thing stop, so you tried to cling your humanity as much as possible. Oh no. I'm gonna lose one humanity. Gabe, please, I'm your sister. He begged, shaking. Her words no longer registered, for the beast had taken control. You sank your teeth in her jugular with both speed and force. You began to drink at the last drop as she wriggled and screamed. Eventually, your thirst was quenched. When you finally let go of your sister, she was lying in your arms, lifeless. Your eyes widened and you stared at her horrified. You shook her like a crazy person, but she stayed limp in your arms. You cried out her name repeatedly between hysterical sobs. You didn't even pay any mind to the people laughing loudly in the crowd. The big stone gate swung open and some of the monstrous people came in. They told you that if you gave her some of your blood, she might wake up. After all, that was what they had done to you. You paid no mind to the mockery in their eyes and the snickers, and gave yourself a small cut and tried to force some of your blood past her lips. You did it again and again, sobbing. The crowd laughed and cheered. So, in my playthrough, Gabe just lost one humanity. You snap out of the traumatic memory and back to the present. You jumped, startled, had Betty place her hand on your shoulder. Oh, you poor thing, that must have been horrible. You barely hear her. You're staring blankly into the distance, barely keeping your sanity intact as you desperately try to bury these unwanted memories once more. Here, honey, eat. It'll make you feel better. Trust me. She bares her wrist and places it before your lips. Without thinking twice, you instinctively bite down and revel in your first time consuming vampiric blood. The blonde smiles, seemingly satisfied. Don't worry, everything's gonna be fine now. Trust me. A reader's fancy. Betty gently pulls away after a while, leaving you feeling much less parched, albeit a bit dizzy. Gabe, darling, we can't stay here. The police are on the way, and they'll be here soon. She gently pats your left arm. I'll give you a second to gather your thoughts, alright? Meet Caleb and me in the living room wherever you're ready. You nod in an emotionless fashion. Betty exits the bathroom and closes the door. She then trots to the living room, giggling. Caleb waits in the center of the room, looking at her disapprovingly. I know what you did. Hope you understand the consequences of your actions. Now, he could be useful considering his memories of the Sabbath and whatnot. Besides, he just looks so hopeless and so, adorable. You shouldn't have made him drink your blood. You know nothing about this neonate. Betty smiles mischievously. He's Caitiff. Caleb. No need for me to remind you, he's better off with me as his protector than all alone. The Nosferatu grimaces. I dislike your practices. So be it. I hope you realize he's your responsibility now, considering he's bound to you. She nods curtly, beaming. Of course! You step out of the bathroom at the moment. Betty enthusiastically turns towards you. Gabe, darling, how are you? Ready to leave? You suddenly feel an odd surge of both annoyance and deep, odd warmth towards the blonde kindred. You are now bound to her, filled with some sort of odd, intense affection and loyalty that you cannot control. Yeah, you mutter. You can leave. And the story conclusion. Gabe, honey, you keeping up alright? I'm fine, yes now. The more time you spend with this woman, the more she gets on your nerve. As the two of you walk to her car, she adds, by the way, as obvious as this is, don't go out during the day, alright? You roll your eyes as she unlocks the car door with a beep of her default. Yes, everyone knows that. Betty opens her door and gets inside. You get in beside her and instinctively put on your seatbelt and wonder if you should ever bother considering you're dead. In the end, you decide to leave it on anyway. Alright, ready? Betty puts her key in the ignition and turns on. In a way, you're lucky, you know, she says. You chuckle bitterly and she adds, oh, I don't mean with regards to life or your embrace. That just sounds atrocious. I mean about me finding you. The prince is holding an emergency Elysium, you see. You barely have time to ask what that means before Betty goes on a rant about the Elysium and how it'll be about the disappearance of some members of the clan. Toreador. You nod along politely, but despite yourself, you have to admit you're genuinely curious. Huge meeting with only vamps. What will that be like? Gain 1 experience point. Okay then, so that concludes the final prologue of the game, which is the Caitiff prologue. So what I can do now is sum up all of the experience points I've gathered and then distribute among the characters that I'm going to play. And I think I'll start with 2 characters, but I have to decide on that because there are some additional characters that you can later on recruit, which are the DLC characters. There are 4 DLC characters in total, 4 DLC chapters in total. I only have 2, and most likely I will recruit them along the way, so we'll see. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Apologies for my English and the mistakes that I made. And I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please let me know if you consider playing a Caitiff in your playthrough and create your own character from scratch. And if not, did you even enjoy that? I found it pretty dark and pretty nice, so I did. Either way, please like, comment, subscribe, and hopefully see you next time. Bye!